fight at Bengals training camp, week 0 of college football, and week 1 of NFL football all in less than 2 weeks? Come on, man. Roll the intro.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. I'm Garrett. This is the new Wincy show.
We're going to the Super Bowl!
Good morning, afternoon, evening to all of you guys who are listening, watching, enjoying, not enjoying, leaving nice comments, leaving mean comments. I don't care, because I'm excited, because Bengals football is about to be back. Speaking of Bengals football, we had a joint practice at training camp this week, and first off, welcome back to the New Wincy Show. I'm G Money. Thank you guys so much for always tuning in. I appreciate everybody who goes out of their way to tune in to me and my beautiful, lovely face every time you guys see me on hopefully Saturdays or whenever you guys get to see me and get a chance to tune in. But I appreciate everybody who does. First off, I want to apologize for my lackluster voice right now. I know it's usually very incredible and persuading and very soothing to all of you guys who listen to me, but I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, and so I just want to let you guys know beforehand, and I don't want you to be concerned. I'm perfectly fine. I just feel a little bit under the weather. English, Garrett. I am feeling a little bit under the weather. However, life happens, so I'm not really too worried about it, but just happens, a little bit of a cold, a little bit of a scratchy throat, just sniffles, stuff like that. So nothing to concern about, but I did want to forewarn everybody in case I just go and have a coughing attack off to the side, and why my voice sounds like I just got scratched by Wolverine's claws in my esophagus. So thank you for bearing with me this episode, and I'll hopefully try to continue to bring you guys some good content. But anyway, fights at Bengals training camp. Joint practice between the teams who met each other in the Super Bowl. Obviously, tensions are high. Something that we all kind of expected, maybe a little bit of chippiness during practice. I didn't think it was going to be anything too bad, but with according to Zach Taylor, about 3 plays left in the joint practice on Thursday, there was a huge fight that broke out during Bengals training camp. Both benches cleared, per se. There weren't actually benches, but both teams were in the middle of the field. Apparently, things were very chippy throughout both days, and eventually it just got to a point where helmets were flying and punches were thrown, and what would you say? Full transparency. Lyle Collins apparently was out there kicking helmets or something like that first, but that was not even close to as egregious as Aaron Donald having ripped off 2 Bengals players' helmets and started going around swinging them. So, that being said, Aaron Donald is a great player. I think he's probably the best defensive player in the league, no question. He can't be any less good than anyone else, given his accolades and just how well he's played over the last couple of years. But I'm going to say it right here. He's been a dirty player for years. He's not someone who I look up to for someone who's going to be super sportsmanlike. He's good, but that doesn't mean he's going to go out and be the nicest guy on the field. And I'm sure he doesn't have to be, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I believe he's a dirty player, and we saw it in the Super Bowl. We've seen it in other seasons too, in other games where it's unnecessary plays and actions speak louder than words, in my opinion. And it truly is kind of disgusting for someone to openly cheer after your teammate essentially tries when you're watching that game and replays of it. Whoever tackled, I think it might have been actually Von Miller but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But at the end of the game in the Super Bowl, when we did inevitably lose, Aaron Donald was cheering as Joe Burrow was on the field down, and there's been way too many other instances of stuff like that, and that's just a drop in the bucket for me. And then coming out here after you already won the Super Bowl, you beat us. I'm sure it was chippy. I'm sure he had reason for being a little bit upset, but never in a million years in a joint practice should you ever rip players' helmets off. Should you ever start swinging them, think about what could happen. A player's going to get hurt. Imagine if someone gets hit with their helmet off. Like, it's unnecessary and honestly, in my opinion, extremely dirty. I don't agree with anything that happened during that fight on both sides. But I sorry. I can't really expect anything else from a player like that, and especially in an environment like that where you're practicing for 2 straight days. It's hot, tensions are high, you're playing each other constantly, you're doing stuff that you're probably not wanting to do, you're having to deal with a whole bunch of coaches, and it's the end of training camp, you're about to get into week 1. There's a lot of high stakes. It's not an easy environment being in, but once again, never an excuse to go around swinging 2 helmets at numerous other players on another team. Never an excuse. And obviously that is with me defending AJ Green, because Jalen Ramsey also, I feel like, is a dirty player, and he's less of a dirty player than Aaron Donald, but in my opinion, but that's just me. So you can take those pieces of information as you wish. However, I'm not going to be the one to bite my tongue and be like, oh, he's the defensive player of the year so many times. He can let that slide. No, I'm sorry, not me. I'm not gonna bite my tongue. I'm not gonna be the guy to let it slide. So whatever needs to be said can be said. So sorry. I mean, obviously I'm nowhere on Aaron Donald's radar, and I'm sure he couldn't give a crap about what anybody's saying. He's going to continue to play football, but I mean, that's just what's going to happen. So I really can't say anything else about the situation. I'm not really going to speak on that too much. However, people have been talking about possible suspensions for Aaron, and while I do hope that, I mean, obviously, if you know anything about training camp and these joint practices and stuff like that, the NFL doesn't have any jurisdiction over any of these practices, so they can't come in and officially give a suspension to Aaron Donald, which is very unfortunate because, in my opinion, I think he deserves one. You can't do that. It doesn't matter who you're playing week 1. Oh, we need Aaron Donald for week 1 against the Bills. Maybe you shouldn't have swung helmets at other players. Sorry, that's not my problem. That falls under the category of not my problem. However, the Rams are the only people who can give that suspension. It's a team designated practice. The NFL has no jurisdiction over it, and obviously the Rams aren't going to put their best player on a suspension. So there's not much we can do there. So stuff happens. Tensions are high. Emotions flare up. It's going to happen every once in a while, but once again, never an excuse for something like that to happen. But moving on to week 0 in college football comes on this Thursday, and I'm very excited. I know I'm kind of the college football guy on here, and I love doing that. I love college football. Obviously, me being at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. It's college football is basically like a holiday for half a year. So I'm very excited for what's here or what's to come. West Virginia plays in the first game, and then a whole bunch of other games. I can't really say much, but I talked last week about the coaches poll. There's not really much that I can talk about right now other than just watch out for matchups. We don't really know what any of these teams are going to be. Obviously, we can make our predictions. We can go into the polls and be like, where do you think this team is going to fall under? Where do you think any of these teams are going to be at? But when I'm looking at these games, it's not really like we're not going to end up going and being super excited. I'm not going to go out and be excruciatingly head over heels for any of these games that are on Thursday, but it's college football, and we have to start looking at some of these teams. Like West Virginia v. Pittsburgh is a huge game. Kenny Pickett just got drafted. We don't know what Pittsburgh's going to be. They did end up being very good last year with the help of Kenny Pickett. It's just you can't really go off of a game like this when you're playing West Virginia the first week. It's just you can't go in and make an official prediction after that game, first game of the year, and you're both of those teams. West Virginia, not to hurt anybody's feelings, but right now they're unranked, and I don't really see them as somebody who's going to end up being in the top 25 at the end of the year, in my personal unprofessional opinion. But Pittsburgh is a very different team. They had a couple players drafted, a couple players undrafted free agents, but you're not gonna. I don't think they're 17. Personally, I didn't think they're. I was surprised that they were top 25 even with Kenny Pickett, and I just 17 seems pretty high. I don't think they're really going to change ranking. Excuse me. I apologize. But you can't really go into that game and expect too much. Same thing with Oklahoma State versus Central Mich. That's a game that you can't really dedicate your entire life to. It's just what's going to happen. Wake Forest versus VMI. Don't know who that team is. We won't know who that team is. I don't care who that team is. Sorry. Michigan State versus Western Michigan. You see these matchups, and I'm not too excited only because it just doesn't really interest me to watch who's what's-its in week 0 of college football, but whatever. I'm not mad. It's college football. I'm here for whatever. And I'm sure half of these teams are going to, Wake Forest could be top 25. I still think, even though in my personal opinion, I don't think Pittsburgh should be top 25. I think they're going to end up being top 25 at the end of the year. Oklahoma State's always a lock for top 25, and Michigan State has improved over these last couple of years, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up being in top 25 as well. And then once you go into that weekend, you get the whole slew of college football, and everybody should be excited. Everybody should be ready on their feet, jumping around, and college football is back, baby. Because do you know what's on a Sunday immediately after that? Week 1 of NFL football, which is what we're all here for here on the Wincinnati Podcast Network. If you're not also here for college football, I don't know what you're doing. Keep up with me. Keep up with college football. Come on, guys. Let's go. Anyway, week 1 of NFL football. Sorry. Apologies. Week 1 of NFL football is here soon. And all we can watch in this next preseason game, I've talked a lot about preseason because it's really the only thing we can talk about. But I'm off to week 1. We haven't seen any of our starters play. I wouldn't expect to see any of our starters play tomorrow, at least on the offensive side. The defense might play a drive. I'm not sure. But That's up to the coaches and the front office and everything like that. It's more up to the coaches. But week 1, Bengals Steelers, super excited. That's going to be an incredible game. I'll talk about it more. But as we move into week 1, I would highly recommend watching our defensive backs in the depth chart. Make sure that we're hopefully can get some good people on the practice squad. Maybe there are some guys who are going to end up catching a good spot on the practice squad, and they can be called up if we have any bad injuries in the first couple of weeks, and if they can continue to show who they are. Hoping to see Cam Taylor-Britt out there soon. I know he had surgery, and hopefully he's back out there healthy and happy. Jesse Bates is officially back, which I said weeks ago when Mike Brown said he believes that Jesse's going to play for us this year. I said, believe in the person who's paying the checks, and he ended up being correct. So very happy about that. He's going to bring, I mean, you heard it from the players. They're you can already feel a jolt in the locker room just with him back, and there's nothing else you can really say about that. I mean, when somebody's that important to a team who's been holding in for so long, and you've been waiting and wondering, oh, is he going to request a trade? Is he going to leave? Is he going to just become an official free agent? Like, what's going to happen? And he decides that he's going to sign the tender. It's truly incredible. And now that we have our top 3 safeties being Dax Hill, Von Bell, and Jesse Bates, in no particular order. And that's just splendid news for us as Bengals fans and for the Bengals organization. That's somebody that you want to have in your locker room as a true backbone guy, not only on the field, but in the locker room and on the sideline, somebody who you're going to want to lean on when you need to, and someone who you're going to want to really put all your chips on and be like, hey, let's make a play. Like right here, you need to show us now. And the Bengals have been like, show us. And he's going to show up in my opinion this year. And I think he's going to get a contract he deserves eventually, whether or not it's here or somewhere else. But this year he's on the Bengals and he's playing for us, which is so exciting. And it's something that we've been waiting for forever. And I think it's something that we're all happy about. So make sure to look out for that in the days coming up to week 1 and during this final preseason game against the Rams. It's going to be chippy. It's going to be kind of crappy. We're not really going to enjoy it. Nobody really enjoys preseason football other than the teams themselves and some analysts and all the guys who are out there fighting to make a team. And I'm rooting for all those guys. I hope all of them put out a good show for them to either maybe they make our team, maybe they make another team, put out some good tape, but all those guys deserve something for all their hard work. So hopefully something can come to fruition from them, but look out for that coming into week 1. And I'm so very excited for all this stuff to be coming into fruition right as the beginning of the school year starts for all of you guys, whether or not you have children or maybe you're listening and you're in school, and everybody just start hyping up everything because football's back. It's officially football season. It's like I said, it's like Christmas for half the year. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please follow me at New Wincy Show on Twitter. Follow the show at New Wincy Show. Follow me at New Wincy G on Twitter. Make sure you reach out as always, and follow at Wincinnati Pod for everybody. Shout out Zim, shout out Ace, shout out all the guys on Bengals Pulse, the 513 show, everybody over there. Make sure you're tuning into those shows as well. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope to see you guys next week for official college football week 1 breakdowns. And thank you so much. Good afternoon, good morning, afternoon, evening to everybody who tuned in. I appreciate all of you so very much. And hooday and good night.